Hi everyone, welcome back to Keep Evolving. We are on episode 11, season 2. Thank you so much for joining us each and every day. We share anything each and every week actually. Thank you so much for liking, for sharing, for your comments, for your feedback, for everything that you have been sending through. So first of all, we'd like to send you to the previous video that we did. It's on trauma. We are still open to your questions. We really would like to answer the questions that you have in the next session rather, that we'll be taking on trauma. So keep sending your questions, your concerns, everything that you have, and then we'll be sure to put it into the next trauma video or mental health. So yeah. So today I have mafans wa kawaida. I have Collins on my right, and I have Benjamin on my left. Mneza salimia mafans. All right. So today I want us to just have a very simple discussion. Yeah. And today my question to you guys and to you people at home is, how well do you know your family? That is my question to you. So, quick question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how can you, where can you place how much you know your family, Colin? Just randomly, on a scale of 1 to 10.
So embarrassing. I can say maybe a 4.
Okay. All right. Benjamin, now for you, we're not going to, we're going to talk about your family, the one that you had.
Oh, okay. My siblings and parents, or
your
my wife and children.
Your wife and son, and your siblings and parents. So we'll start with your siblings and parents. I know you wish to stick to your wife and son.
We will be here until tomorrow. I come from a large family, so unless I go person to person.
No, just on
on average.
Yeah.
On my wife and child, let me put it at 50% on average. And then on my siblings and parents.
It shall not be used against you.
Well, easily trick questions. There is no way to get out of this. Let me put it at a 40% because there's quite a number of them, and of course there are some that I can categorically say 80%, and there are some that I can say let's give a 30%. Average hapo inakuja kama tuseme pia 50% basi.
Okay.
Yes.
Safe, very safe. I'd say it's also different because I know them differently, on different levels.
Yep.
But on average, neza sema 40-50%, around there, I think. So that said, is it important to and when we're talking about knowing your family, we're not talking about knowing their names and where they work and what careers they are in.
It is the 0 to 10%, you know.
So that's bare minimum. That's bare minimum. We're talking about knowing the details of, what do they like, what's their favorite meal, what are their favorite colors, even how do they like their gifts. If they like gifts at all, do you know their love languages? You remember we talked about it. That's what I'd just like us to talk about. It's a food for thought, even for me, to just think about it, yeah? So, is it important? Is it important to know your family being the most basic unit of society? So is it really important, Benja?
I'd say it is very important, and we are not intentional enough in knowing each other from the basic, like you're saying, the basic unit of family. We have not been intentional enough. One day your brother wakes up and, because borrowing from news during this pandemic, And when you hear someone killed their wife and their children, buried them where, and that is your brother, that is your sister, that is your cousin who hacked the family to death, you know, who did something crazy that like, we have not been intentional enough in knowing each other. Like I said, I come from a big family. The nuclear unit, we are 8 siblings. Plus mom and dad. Ukipitia kwetu tushaja team ya football. Tuko tu sawa. So, I think we've not been intentional enough to know what each and every one of us really is, you know, in terms of likes, non-likes, what do they not stand, in terms of knowing one another. And, well, the people from large families can have an excuse, waseme wanajua at least watatu, which is a percentage. But then there are people from, like, who are only 3 siblings, 4 siblings, 2 siblings, only children, and you ask them, do you know your parents? And they'd go like, why would I want to know them? But I think it comes down to intention. Realizing that this is your fallback place. Realizing that these are the people that, when I have the happiest moment in life, these are the guys I should first of all tell. When I have my saddest moment, these are also the people I should tell. But our intentionality in terms of knowing one another is largely not there, on average. Because you'll find siblings fighting even in their young adulthood. The patriarch or the matriarch has passed on and people are fighting over property.
Yeah.
And they can't come to a consensus, or they are fighting over something that was said. They are fighting over, even when the parents are alive, people are fighting simply because they didn't take the time to know one another and they were not intentional. They just coexisted, fought through childhood, and they deemed that as normal. And then now they are young adults and they are still fighting. And now they are children, they are adults with families, and they are still fighting one another. To an extent, you look through your parents' siblings. Do you get along with all their children? Ama kuna malilifika mkaambiwa nisiwahi waona nao watoto. And if it's in the rural setup, those guys are your neighbors, like literally. But mmejenga fence na barrier, so the intentionality was not there, and it got lost, and it's now passing on into another generation. So there is no intention, but it is very, very important that we know one another. Know at least 50%. Let the other 50% equal. You know what? There is, for those large families, there is 8 years between our firstborn and myself, and so we got disconnected at some point. So I don't know them up to this place. Or there is 12 years, you know, or there is 15 years between that sibling and myself. So we don't. Or when I was, like for myself, when I was 10 years old, I went to boarding school. So there is a gap. But still, that can be used as an excuse, not a reason. My excuse may fly in some places, but still, kwani bado niko boarding? You know, like, are you still in boarding? Are you still abroad? Are you still, you know, there are so many other things we can put into that equation. But if we could be intentional enough, then we can be able to get to that point where we cover that importance and we actually know one another.
That is really interesting. You see, so we agree that it is actually important. It's not just some far-fetched idea that, you know, we are coming up with. What is your view on it? Is it important, or can we just, you know, flow through with life?
I think it is very important. The way we are so intentional with knowing our friends right now, or you know, like even for your wife, or like for us, maybe the person we are dating or something like that. Like the way you're saying, we're so intentional in knowing those particular people. I think we should employ the same intentionality at home. One thing I've come to believe is it's not normal for siblings to fight. It's not normal. It's not a phase of life. It's not a birthday or, you know, like circumcision, wedding. No, it's not a phase of life. And it's how can I put it? Like when you put it to the test, when you put this knowing each other to the test, it really helps avoiding so much strife in the family. You know, like there are families right now that do not see eye to eye. Mimi huyo mtu sitaki. Or maybe even for our viewers, maybe you have experienced this. Your mom or your dad is like, you know, it's umeenda kwa kuzo yako, your cousin, but then they're like, that's a stranger. And it hurts. You know, it hurts. And or we grow up as siblings or as cousins, and then, like people say, life happens. Well, what is really life happening? We drift apart. We drift apart, and this person, this brother, this sister whom you felt close to, you felt safe with. So you think of them, you're like, hey man, they are very distant. I'm stranded here. Yes, they will help you, because with this notion, when a family member, lazima tukusaidia. Like, we're stuck with you.
We can't do anything about it.
But then, situifanya out of ninakujua. I know, maze, when things get tough for you, you will break down. So I'll be here to kukasteza kukusaidia when you're breaking down. Nitakushikilia ukianguka. You know, at least.
That is very important. So there's a lot of intentionality being put into this. There's a lot of that word that we have used enough times in sessions. And I'm just thinking about some random situations in the home that have made you actually go like, oh snap, I actually don't know this, like something very basic. And sometimes it can show up as a very embarrassing moment, you know, where you're probably coming up thinking through a gift idea for someone for their birthday, and you're like, what? And I don't know what we can get this person, you know. And have you had such things that have actually been like a wake-up call to the fact that I know this person, but I don't actually know them? Have you had such things that have just caused you to be like, wow, I know, but I don't know?
Let me speak from this place. Borrowing from what I just said, I went to boarding school at 10 years old. Not young. I actually went to my parents and I was like, Mimi, nataka kwenda boarding. And so they were running through this country looking for a suitable school, and they found one, and it was what it was.
That's cool.
It was an experience, and by itself, a story for another day. So you make friends, and they become like your siblings, because you are there for 4 years, and you're like, you're seeing this person more than you're seeing your actual blood brother. So you're there 3 months. We used to count days. You're there 92 days, and then you're home for 28 days. And you come back for another 90 days, and you're home for 30 days. Then you go for another 90 days, and then you come home for what, maybe 100, and not even 100, maybe 40 days. And you're feeling, this has been a holiday. So you look at the entire year, you've been with strangers for longer. And so you think, because of that relationship you've created there, you think that I now know this person. Because now you're feeling like your brother says, you go home and your brother is bigger than you, and you're wondering what happened. But you feel that now this is my brother. You know, you even get, you know, the way they do in boarding school. You get a bigger brother and a younger brother, that thing. It's because of how much you stay together. Now, in that staying together, you think, now I know this person. You end up even in high school together. And so you think, we keep going. But then soon after, you begin to realize, you actually, because you're growing, you don't know this person. And so you revert to home, looking for, I know these people better, they are my people. And then suddenly, you know, you are maybe in a confrontation with your sister, and you realize, my goodness, the way they are speaking, I
did not know.
This is a stranger. You revert to the person you think is your friend, your brother, your sister. And then you realize, wait a minute, so where am I? Like, ni kama sina familia. You know, like something, a situation, an incident makes you realize you either now begin to know them or you become a loner. And so you understand why a lot of people would use that lone ranger. Me, I'm just a lone ranger. I don't keep friends. They had an awful experience. You talk to them about their siblings and they're like, that's a no-go zone. When they have an issue to discuss, their siblings are not the first people to talk to. And so you find a family that is not even communicating. They are not in one another's lives. Because especially for those people who went to boarding in primary school, then you went to high school boarding, and then you hit campus, and where Nirika Yang went, so campus was boarding and away from home. So after 12 years or more, you come back home, and then you begin to now discover where, if you're the firstborn Pole Sana, you begin to learn that now you need to know these other people. And then situations just they become humbling, embarrassing, because you're like, who are these people I'm living with? Like, these are total strangers. Even your parents. So those situations throw you into a place where you realize that, man, I am alone. And so now moving forward, your dating life is affected. You get married and you don't know how to relate to people who are very close to you. You can only relate at that place Collins is referring to. Your part ya kwanza, the thrill of new love. And then after that, you're like, probably it's why young marriages are not going as far. Because your stamina to withstand the knowing someone face inaisha haraka. And then there you are and you're like, Sasa, they changed. You've heard that phrase, hey, they changed so much, I do not know, or I just don't know this person. And then it becomes murky as you go on. So those are embarrassing situations that I think with intentionality, we can begin to sort them out.
What would you have to say about, some of these things that actually, like, do you even have examples of some of these things that, actually expose the fact that you actually do not know this person and they are family?
Wow. That's about gifting. I remember last year, it was my brother's birthday, and so I was like, wait, what should I get him? What should I get him? I ended up getting him a gift which he hated. Whew. Wow. You know how you can dismiss something what I stood, he hated it, and I was like, wow, I even regret. Or another time, I think this year, I was talking about my day, and then I just said the date, and I'm like, oh snap, it's my mom's birthday.
Like he didn't even.
Season is saa 2 usiku. So I'm rushing. My room is outside the main house, so I'm rushing to the main house and I'm like, Mom, happy birthday. And she was like, happy birthday. Siku ndio imeisha. It was so hurting. And that's just one example. Birthdays, and like when this brother or this sister approaches you, akona shida. How well do you know them? Are they that type of wakikuja kwako na shida wanataka uongee? Ama wanataka type wanataka to just listen, keep quiet. Or kuna wenye wanapendanga kuwa mix ya kila kitu, so wanataka uongee ukinyamaza.
Ni mjanja.
Kuwa mjanja.
Please talk and shut up.
At the same time.
And we end up complicating ourselves. Like it's of when you say like how these young couples, when they get into marriage, inaanza ikiisha. Unaingia kama umetoka. They say like, I don't know this person anymore. And the first question that came to my mind is like, okay, so would you like to know this person? So I think, guys, it's a challenge. It is a challenge.
And it's something that really requires you to be intentional.
Exactly. After this, make that phone call. Go to that.
These things. As you're speaking, I'm just thinking about these things that we have mentioned that have, revealed the fact that you actually don't know. Do we ever get to the place where we feel like, as you said, would you want to know? Because I feel like it's not like you are expected to know every tiny detail. But once you realize that, I don't know what do you do about it?
Yeah.
Because you know, some of us, we learn because we were trying to come up with a gift, we messed it up, and then we realized, turns out they don't eat cake. Okay.
Yeah.
You know. And then next time you'll actually find out and go like, so what exactly do you like? You know, you'll actually go the extra mile to ask. So do we take that, you know, what do we do next after you realize that, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do we do? What should we do next?
Intention, first and foremost. I think we must progressively become a generation of intentions, especially the intention to do right by ourselves and right by these other people. And when we progress, I use the word progressively, so that you can bring in that everyday thing. Yes, I don't know you. Yes, he did not like he did not like the gift. Stop shouting about the gifting. Kuna watu una nini pale. Just stay tuned. We will sort this out in a few. He didn't like the gift, but life is continuing. So another birthday is coming up. And a graduation is coming up. So what utampatia nini tena? Ama all together.
Ama gift all together happened, you know.
Maybe they don't speak gifts, so it's a waste of time. Ni wale wakuletewa maua, an entire bouquet, beautiful, and then wanauliza sasa hizi tutakula. And you're over there like vile you've delivered flowers, you even had someone deliver flowers to the office and they're like
with a card.
So in your lunch. You know.
Okay.
So there you are. So what do you do next? You have realized that you actually do not know them. So I believe it needs to be progressive. We can't sit here and lie to ourselves. I'm guessing all of you are seated. We can't sit here and lie to ourselves that now you sit them down and go like, so brother, ni realize, ukupenda hiyo tie nilikununulia for graduation. So what do you like? You know, and that doesn't constitute knowing them. It means begin to spend time with this person. Begin to have a conversation with this person. Communication says that once a conversation has started, it does not break. But it could take a break. And so you need to bridge this gap so that the communication that was broken or was, you know, on a dormant phase comes up alive again. And then your kind of conversation needs to be a conversation that is intentional. You know, progressively. You don't need to sit down for 3 hours with someone so that you can say, hey, anyway, I know this person. Which is the other thing. Intimacy at all levels of it is about time spent with the person. Physically, or thank God this is not 1901 where we have to do horseback and cross valleys and rivers to get to someone, to spend 30 minutes and then horseback again all the way back. This is the 21st century. There is all of this technology. If a call is too much, I mean, this is also not 2005 where internet was only at the cyber cafe. Like everyone has internet near them. Bundles are cheaper. You can do a video call. Do you know that a video call for 3 minutes feels like you've been with that person seated at a coffee place for 30 or an hour?
That's true,
Small things that are intentional and then again progressive. Those are the things that will send us to that place. Yes, my brother, I didn't get you the kind of gift you'd like. So, who are you really? You know, where ni nani? My parents. Challenge yourself and begin that journey of progressive, small steps, baby steps.
That's true. And as we continue to just think about the intentionality and everything that we've talked about, we will take a short break and then we will come back and get into the effects. You know, what are the effects of not knowing and how different is it when you know, you know? So we'll just talk about the effects. So don't go away, we'll be right back. Welcome back. We are so glad you stayed because we believe that you stayed. Thank you so much for just hanging out with us. And before we left, we were talking about knowing your family. You know, that's what we were talking about, and we were talking about intentionality, and what you can do to know people, some of the incidences that have made you to actually realize, oh my God, I do not know this person, So we'd want to just talk about some of the effects, There are people who actually get really affected by the realization of the fact that, my family does not know me.
And offended too. Affected and
very
offended.
Affected. And the offense is actually what builds up to, something else, And for some, it's probably whatever. And that's also a very sad place to be, because they're probably like, big deal. It's not like, And that's a very concerning place as well. So what are some of the effects that come with you actually not putting in time to know people? I mean, we have had enough stories and news even just around ourselves about suicide, and sometimes you're like, hold up, wait, what? What do you mean? Because probably you guys were having dinner last night, mkicheka kwa nyumba, you were having a good time, and then all of a sudden you're like, this person, what did we do? What did we not do? So what are some of the effects that are as a result of, the lack of intentionality of knowing each other within the family setup? Kolo?
Well, it like Benja said, it's offensive. It's really offensive, especially. Okay, two sides. Number one, you never told anyone that you don't like this particular food. And then that's the first thing that they serve you. So there's that intentionality of mimi nikwambie enyewe sipendangi kukula.
Oh yeah, there's the part of you communicating. Exactly. Lazima ushinde ukiulizwa.
Like me, I'm not an angel,
But actually, it's important to point that out. That it's not just the other person's responsibility to ask you. It's also your responsibility to speak out.
So I will say, I don't like food maybe I don't
Mafuta.
know. Wow. or I only eat foods people on corn oil, not sunflower oil. Like the people, actually, I love the diversity of God's creation. So you're like, but anyway. And then the other side of nishakwambia, I like my food like this. And then you need like you cook it the way I don't like it, as in how is key. And it's not only about marriages, it's not only about romantic relationships. Man, this thing tear down brothers, they tear down sisters, they tear down friendships. Why? Because in Africa point you're like, okay boss, I've told you very well, I like this type of shoes. But then you bring these other things and you're like, so how will you, would you apologize and actually go make the step of correcting? There's a part of humility. Or just in a pride because I believe in relationships, that's where it reveals our pride.
Especially the very close ones.
The very close friend, that girlfriend, that boyfriend, your wife, your husband. Pride itajitokeza in its full manifestation. I am. And now it's you to swallow your pride. It's you to put your pride candle and be like, okay, will I serve my pride or will I humble myself and listen? I mean, if you look at God, this is the same way we are talking about. It's the same way we relate to God. God has given us His word. His word says so many things about our lives in every perspective. And then, ukose kufanya, read the book of Jeremiah. Like God is like, I am punishing you because you did this. Like Hasemi, I will punish you with this. Junimejam, Junajiskia, Jumlinibo. See, he says, you have forgotten my laws. You have served other gods. And so I will bring this and this and this. You know, so let's not put our play. Let's not play the card here. Chane, we say we'll catch emotions.
Yeah.
I mean, you have offended this person, and people take offense in different degrees. Mi nitanyamaza, mwingine atalipuka na maneno, mwingine will just ghost you, others will be passive aggressive, all of which are not okay. You know, so
I like that you have brought 2 dimensions here, and I like that it's come out the fact that it's not always other people's responsibility to tell you, you know, to ask you rather. You should actually also, you know, speak out. You know, if a decision is being made on something, you can say, Missy Pendi, ama, like you can actually say it. It doesn't always have to come from Lisa, so now I can say it. Because at the end of the day, the effects will fall on you, and yet you probably had an opportunity to say. Because something else that I have also seen is there are people who will be like, you know, you ask them like what they want. For example, now that you're talking about giftings and birthdays and everything, there are people who'd be like, you know, I'll be specific enough to come and ask you, what would you like for your birthday? Because we are not about to make
random mistakes.
So I'll be honest enough to come and ask you, what would you like for your birthday? And then someone would answer like, I'm fine, you like whatever you guys decide. That is not an answer, you know, like, because you see someone will say, whatever you guys decide, me, I'll be good with it, and then will bring something that you don't like, and then it will be like, oh my god, this is what, like, what? But you said anything. You know, like when you're not specific about what you ask for, then you get anything that you know.
And most of the time, you get something which you don't like. I think it's like even it's like your words affect you. What you say, it just comes back and crawls at you, just slaps you in the face. And, oh,
that is true. Oh, so you want anything? Cool.
Let me help you. Let me help you find out what you don't like.
That is actually very interesting.
Let me throw in the dimension of the person who, you know, that person who said anything and borrow from an expectation they would have. Like for one, y'all are my family. So, nasijakuwa nikishi kwa shimo. We wake up, we see each other, we do life together. So when I say anything, my anything has limits. So,
but how about you just be specific?
Because we are talking about effects. It's to the person now who said, I'm cool with what you guys decide. It has limits because hatujakuwa tukiishi kwa shimo. Like you all don't come visiting every morning and leave every evening. We do life together. We sit down and go like, tueni okipindi, I don't like that. You know, like there is to some extent, ata kama ni 3%, you have picked up something. And now to my point is, we are doing relationships. So, if we are unintentional, we are bound to have conflict. And this is a time when we have had a lot of coming together, a lot of using up space. The reason you hear these stories, like the hot news last week, people just decided, by the way, we are bored, so we can up and left and be found wherever after 4 days, 5 days. It's because the space is so limited and the relationships are to some degree very unintentional that people can just go like, what if we just left? Like my problems are limited space. They seem to be your problems, they seem to be your problems. Everyone. So guys, I have a suggestion. How's about we just leave and go? Like there looks like within this neighborhood, there looks to be an inviting home. So how's about we just go and chill there for like 7 days? Notwithstanding the intentions of the available place for us to chill. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the conflict and the friction that is happening here because of the unintentionality of the people we are living around to know, you know. One of the biggest challenge you will find with young people, young adults, from teenage all the way to campus and beyond, is you guys do not understand me. That's a big challenge of not being understood.
Yeah.
But it is not coming out of nowhere. It's coming from the, if you buy anything, like whatever you guys decide, it's coming from an expectation. Like nyinyi wase like mnanijua.
Yeah.
Like out of nowhere. Siwezi kuwa sasa nataka viatu sijui ziko na shape gani. Like mumeona zile viatu dad tukienda na wewe shopping. Mom tukienda shopping. Umeona zile viatu mutaka unibaie. So how is it again? Okay, label iko sawa, but shape manze is wanting from here to Timbuktu and all the way back. Like in all my life, hamjawahi ona nimevaa shati inakaa hivyo. So ni wapi nyinyi wase mlikaa, nyinyi siblings wa saba, mlikaa mka decide this is exactly what I would want, you know, because we're talking at the family level. Where did you decide that now, suddenly, after 15 years of not eating Hawaiian large, mulienda
na ni terrific Tuesday wewe iko na 1+1.
Yes. Na zote mbili mka decide that hamtaki variety, it's all Hawaiian.
Yeah.
And you want to make my day. Like I've been singing this song for 10 years, for 5 years. So my everything also has boundaries. So the conflict and the friction will be heightened. So out of all not wanting to know, we will have people that heads are clashing simply because you guys didn't listen. You know, you are not active in my life. So, and knowing or not knowing who you are living around, even for that, like, mbona mnaninunulia belt, you know, like that anapatanga belt, shati, you know, like clothing, because it looks like it is safe. Like wardrobe yangu yote kama dad haina happy socks pair hata moja. Ni nani amewambia saizi mnaleta happy socks? Who told you I am like, can't you guys see? Like just go bring black socks. I'm good. Like y'all will bless me. Ama you brought a brown belt, blah blah blah, you know, like. So one part of the effects, and then it breeds everything else, is that conflict and friction will begin to be heightened, and then it will carry forward, because you see nobody takes a step to come resolve. Oh yeah, somebody decide mutaninulia a dozen handkerchiefs and they are all funny colors. Wachana na yellow una shout uko hivi. Sipo kushout hapa hivi kwa keep evolving, we are evolving. So you decided to buy me this gift, and then after you discovered that I do not like it, or you decided to do this for me, after you discovered that I was uncomfortable, none of you took steps. None of you, like nobody bothered.
Nobody tried.
So you all are waiting for the next opportunity to gift me for you to do another mistake. Hey, nawaona.
I like that we're talking about the effects of not doing it.
Yes.
What does it? What is the opposite? You know, how does it change when people actually, you know, put in effort? For example, this is not like it's not a family example, but it's family that's not blood. I think I'd say that.
Yeah.
My birthday this year, I was literally just, you know, some of those birthdays when you're just like, yay, thank you God, I turned X years. Moving on. You know, like there was no like big deal about it. But then there was someone who literally, you know, came and gave me a gift. And I looked at that gift and I was like, I cannot even put in words. Like it was so specific, because it's something that I had been singing about for
forever.
I'd say years, honestly. And it's not something that I had, you know, told her to buy, like nataka hii, but I kept, like when we'd go to, I really love brogues from Backyard Shoes. Aki Backyard, mkaweza jisikia kunisponsor neza. But she specifically went to Backyard Shoes and bought me that specific pair of shoe that I wanted. And I was like, it's not even about the fact that the shoe is from Backyard. It's about the fact that you actually had me saying this, as much as I would joke about it and like ulikuwa unasikiza. And it really, it really blessed my heart to know that, wow, you have actually been listening all along. And it really, I think one of the things that I would start by saying is an effect is the fact that it encourages you, and it even, I'd say, increases your esteem to an extent. I'd say that, because it makes you realize that, wow, like, I'm actually valued. You know, like, even the things that I say randomly, there are people who actually listen to the things I even just throw around. There are people who actually pay a keen, you know, ear to want to know, wow, okay, I think that is what she's been wanting, like, for a very long time. So what would you guys have to say about, like, the positive impact that putting in the effort in knowing people has?
Wow. I will use an analogy. Have you ever had a hot shower on a very cold day?
Very.
You know, or
a cold soda on a very hot day.
Exactly. It's refreshing. That's my point. It's the way I describe nasikia kwa roho yangu, nasikia ni kama there's an outpouring, like there's just something that's just massaging my heart. Just to put it in words, it makes me feel very valued. And there's a word that there's in the Bible, in Psalms, it's my delight. I delight. I have so much delight in that. You know, my love language is not really gifting. Mimi could receive gifts.
Iko shida.
Si shida sana. Like, I actually came to realize that my birthday was last weekend. So like the people who came with gifts, I was like, gosh, Aki, wow, you guys are just melting my heart. Oh my, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And when I feel like, you just feel like, I also want to know you. I also, there's an exchange that comes. See at Jumeni gift I have to do. It comes from a point of,
I want now to even start putting in the intentionality.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a chain reaction. It's a chain reaction. When I do this, you will just do it even more gladly. You will. How could I have force? I could not be intentionality. No, intentionality now will become just second nature. So you will just do it, because when Charlie pay a gift and I'm like, wow.
Amen.
You don't even have, you know, you don't even have to. You must naturally it's science cannot even explain it. All of a sudden you start noticing this guy. Wow, naona anapenda kubaisha. Napendanga this type of gadgets. And then next time if you are gifting, you know, by the help of the Holy Spirit. Guys, man, work with the Holy Spirit. By the help of Holy Spirit, you will be able to know exactly
what you should.
Like your birthday gift, and wow, you see how ili kufikisha mahali. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think while at it, we could just throw in some of the things. What are some of the things that you guys think? Because we are giving people, you know, theories and things that they should put in and everything. What are some of the practical examples you can give of things that you can do to increase, you know, your knowledge and intentionality of someone?
First and foremost, intentionality, of course. Whether it's from a bad experience or a good experience, be intentional to listen first. Just listen.
Listening, yeah.
To spend time, whichever way, electronically or otherwise. The person you want to get to know may be away, but you can begin to have a conversation. Start that conversation. Therein you will hear, oh, if I could get these shoes. Or if I could get, or if only I could have someone to just listen to me.
And you will know the need.
You will begin to go like, hey, you know, I'm always here to, you know, you will respond to the need, to the comment. Because some people, like, let me speak to what we alluded to earlier, teenage or youth suicides. And you wake up one morning and you're like, ni nini hatu compare? Easy to, like maskio. That person felt maybe some kind of pressure that they were feeling, they are very alone. But if we become intentional, like the first step out of it, to make sure that everyone, it's not that I gave you a gift and you felt like, it's not like I missed to just affirm you. It comes from nowhere, but it comes from a place of, hey, I actually do not know you. Like, you do an audit today of your family. Like, how much do I know mom? How much do I know dad? How much do I know my brother, my younger sister, how much do I know the people around me, like my basic unit? Yes. And then you begin to say, now, by next year, I will have known them better. It may not be 80%, but it will not be 20%. Either, it will be on the way to a good knowing. And you say, I will begin a conversation with these people. Hi, how are you? Text, hi, how are you? How is your day? Like, just to wish them something, wish them a good day. And you see, I know for some of you, you've been doing it a lot. You're the only one, you're the person who reaches out, and you're feeling like, now, I am tired, so I need to stop. Don't stop. Let's have this, let's go together. If you feel that someone is not, responding, begin to sit with them and go like, you know what, I know you didn't ask for this, but it would mean something if you respond. It would it would help if you respond, so that I can know that at least my brother or my sister is not in an island and not wanting
to talk.
Yes. And then you will begin to discover, all they've been needing is someone to actually poke their situation, poke their space, like, I need you to respond to me, and they'll begin to respond. So it's everything for me is the intentionality to actually begin the journey, like to say, I need you to, like, respond. It may be, ukona ule brother mwenye ukituma text manze 3 days later ni wako zile za hi good morning, like hii good morning ya Saturday asubuhi anajibu na Tuesday
after blue ticks.
Yes, ulikula blue ticks. You reach out to them and go like, now you will call them like, hey, if you'd respond faster it would be nice. Slowly you discover umsi hata akwangi mbizi hata kidogo. They pretend to be busy or anakwanga mbizi, but if you invade their busy schedule and you become one of the busy of their day, they begin to warm up to you, and the family begins to get closer, and like we said, hakuna closer yenye we can use all the closeness in the family that we can find. COVID has taught us one thing: we need to be comfortable with one another as close as we can. Parents have not had their teenagers at home for as long as they've had in 2020. 2020 is the year. Teenagers have not had to deal with their parents for this long. They've been doing school. Just before I get bored with school, they are home. So we've not had an opportunity to get a relationship going. And now, from what the Ministry of Education is saying, we have another month and a week or two. And so it is time to just say, I can get to sit down with these people. Take a walk as you talk. Chat as you talk. Kuna familia zinanga WhatsApp group. Create it and put comments there that make people uncomfortable for 3 weeks, and then suddenly they are not uncomfortable because it continues to happen. And then as we go, the family begins to get closer and closer. So that instead of going like, hey, I wish we were like that family, you become the family that you are wishing to be. Like somebody said, the grass is not greener on that side only, it is greener where it is watered. Begin to water the grass within the family unit.
Like, I really like what you've shared. I really like, so you can customize, the activities that will work well for your family, for the people around you. You can think about it. Even as you continue to know, you will even ask direct questions. Sometimes it's not as rocket science as we make it look like. Sometimes just ask direct questions, like, what would you want for your birthday? Like, just directly.
Yes, where does your everything border at? Or anything, like anything you guys get me is good enough. Yo, anything yako imeanzia wapi imefika mpaka wapi?
And you'd be surprised to know that people actually have ideas of things that they'd want. Even yetu hakuna mtu ashaiuliza. Nobody's ever bothered.
Totally.
All right. So, do you have any parting shot that you'd like to give?
Well, I can just say, don't wait for you guys to start quarreling, or don't wait to bring that awful, disastrous gift. Don't wait kukuwe na shida ndo muongee. You can always start now. Now that you know there's a need, you know, sometimes we need to be reminded that wow, there's a need for communication here. Tumezoea wewe anakujanga anaenda bedroom. So ushaenda bedroom kuona ufanya nini? Maybe it's just wanna watch or wameboeka. They don't have someone to talk to. But when let's not wait for disaster to strike so that we can act. Let's be those people who are ready in season and out of season. You know, as 2 Timothy puts it, let's be ready always. Let's be there for each other. You know, because when the Bible is talking about brethren, must be only brethren. My brother, my blood, my mother, my father, pia only brethren. You know, let's be there for one another. Kusikwe na a root of bitterness. Soma Hebrews 12, I think 15. A root of bitterness that will defile many. And that bitterness is what is killing us. It's what is killing families. What is happening in the family is what is spilling out in society. Tunakuanga hivi. So there's a particular area tunakuanga hivi. So you have to go to that specific family, and let's start now. Let's start today. By the way, after this, or even after say maybe unaweza text pause kidogo alafu text say make that call. It takes one step, just one step. Na kutoka hapo ujibu mtafika huko.
All right, thank you so much for sharing your insight. Thank you so much for everything that you have shared. And we'd like to encourage you even at home as we take this up, that you will also take it up. You know the people that you live with. You know, let them not just be people that you coexist in a space with. Let them be people that you're actually interested in, and take the step if no one else is taking the step. So thank you so much. Remember to keep your questions coming in, your comments coming in. We will definitely be taking up the topic that we started last week, and so we really encourage you to send in your questions and anything that you would have to ask, because you're here to evolve together. So till next time, bye bye and keep evolving.
Bye.